Hey y'all, I haven't shot a video in a long time, but I really wanted to because it's October and it's spooky time, and I've been seeing some spooky deck videos, and honestly, spooky decks are one of the kind of strange places in tarot collecting for me that I don't normally go. I don't enjoy horror as a genre. I like the concept of it. I get intrigued by classics of the genre and, genre defining things about horror. But anyway, zombies aren't my thing. Really like goblins and ghouls aren't my thing. Ghosts aren't my thing. Sort of kitschy Halloween isn't my thing. I'm just not drawn to it. And so my spooky collection is either pretty, like, if we're going straight for Halloween, pretty minimal. Or if I wanted to get more like categorically spooky and what I consider spooky, not necessarily what everyone else considers spooky, it gets a little bit broader. And so that's what I'm gonna do today, is kind of go for what I have in my collection that is spooky to me, and some of these will be spooky to the general population and applicable to Halloween times, and others are just decks I enjoy that I find to have a spooky vibe. And you might disagree, but this is my collection, so I'm going to share that. So anyway, I wanted to start with one of my all-time favorite decks. I think this is the first or second indie deck I ever purchased, and I think it's the best deck that Taroteca Studios makes, and it's the Dark Mansion Tarot. And I know that this is seen a lot, and I just want to say again how cool the art style is, but that's why I picked it as the first deck. And what I want to do now is definitely zoom in, because I think my desk is pretty far away from the camera, so I'm gonna raise it on up here. I'm at a standing desk, so I can do that. And I'm gonna just focus a little bit on the cards. And I think that's quite large. I think easy to see for the cards. Let me know in the comments if you disagree, because like I never want to be somebody who's like super zoomed out on the cards, and I definitely have done that in the past on videos, so let me know. But anyway, so this is the Dark Mansion Tarot, and I've pulled these cards out actually because I'm using them as inspiration for something else, but I can use them that way because these cards and these illustrations are so beautiful. And it's pretty much Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, just with sort of this like 1840s Gothic vibe, Victorian-esque costumes, and sort of Tim Burton-esque scenes, I suppose. That's what I think some people have likened to the style too. And this is just a great favorite of mine, and I just love the colors. I just think it was so well done, and this is a deck that made me fall in love with Rose Petal, and I know it's not the easiest to shuffle, but honestly, like the production quality of Taroteca's decks, they know what they're doing. It's just delightful to hold and to use and to look at. I can't stop looking at it. So this set of cards I want to keep separate. But anyway, so that is the Dark Mansion Tarot. And I have the cloudy backs, which I really like. I know there's a different type of back as well, but this is what I really like. So I'm gonna put that one away. Definitely a favorite of my spooky decks. Grabbing another. This is the Poe Tarot. And I think the Poe Tarot is really, really cool. It's got this chunky little guidebook, and there's the photos of, the images from the cards on the left. Lots of good stuff in here. Insights. The insights section actually locates the card within sort of Poe's world? Diaspora? I don't know. But then each card, it is glossy. It's not my favorite production quality on on cards, but it is mass market. And it comes in this pretty nice box, clamshell box, with magnetic closure. And each card has an illustration on it plus a quote from one of Poe's works. And the suits are slightly different. So this is two of Wells. Wells would be cups, water. Each has a quote from one of the works that relates to the meaning of the card. So two of quills, that would be two of swords, two of air, believe nothing you hear and only half that you see. I think this was really well done in terms of like I don't know if you'd call this a fandom deck, but it's definitely a fan deck. If you're a fan of Poe, this is really well done. The illustrations are nice, and it's a fun deck. And I like to pair it with the Literary Witches Oracle, which I don't really consider terribly spooky, so it's not in this video. It won't be featured in this video, but it's all over the internet. So I'm not the first to use that, but for sure. Or any of these. But so Literary Witches is one that I like to pair with the Poe Tarot. So definitely check that out. Let's keep moving. Okay. So this is a deck pairing I really love for spooky season and really all year, because these decks are my Practical Magic fan decks. So this is an indie oracle, the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle, and this is the mass market Everyday Witch Tarot. And the reason this reminds me so much of Practical Magic is just sort of the vibes. It's very modern, so like the movie, feels modern. It has the black hats and the red and white tights, and that to me just is such total Practical Magic vibes. So this is a deck that reminds me of that movie, and I like to use it in combination with the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle, which is definitely inspired by the movie, and has a lot of references to the movie. So, and I suppose the book, but most, like, if I've read the book and I've watched the movie, and the Inner Witch Oracle definitely feels like the movie. So yeah, these together are just sort of my Practical Magic witch vibes. Trouble and the Six Swords, maybe running away from some trouble here. Connections and the Moon. Sorry if you hear my Doberman. He is protecting me from the garbage men today, so thank you. But anyway, so this is a really, really nicely produced oracle deck. It gets reprinted quite frequently. I have the second edition, and I know that it's come with like different foil treatments, different edging treatments. So I have I think the full moon edition, which is gold edging, and then I think there's like iridescent edging, like a rainbow kind of effect. That's also really pretty. But definitely happy to have that deck. That is created by Grounded by the Moon. And just, you know, Halloween, Practical Magic, autumnal, spooky vibes. I love these two together. I'll never part with them. All right. This is quite a special spooky deck for me, because this is the Robert M. Place Vampire Tarot, and it's out of print, and I got mine from a very nice seller on eBay. There's a little bit of like shipping tape across it, across the box, but otherwise it was in excellent condition. And this is one of Robert M. Place's decks that sort of explores, well, I guess most of his decks kind of do that, but like I would liken this to sort of like the Buddha Tarot, in that it like seems closest to that rather than his like alchemical tarot. or the Tarot of the Sevenfold Wisdom, which really like explores tarot through, you know, the themes of alchemy and the themes of like Neoplatonism, which is very, very cool, very kind of academic. These are more like the Vampire Tarot and the Buddha Tarot seem more like they're exploring story. So the Vampire Tarot in particular explores Dracula. And really not just Dracula, it explores Bram Stoker. And this book is dedicated to Joss Whedon and all the writers and actors who helped to create Buffy and Angel. So obviously, like, loves vampire stuff. This is a really nice beefy guidebook. If you can get your hands, it was St. Martin's Press, if you can get your hands on a copy of one of these decks, I think they're really, really, really neat. So this deck really explores Dracula and Bram Stoker's life. So the court cards are like people from Bram Stoker's sort of social circle and from his life. So the Queen of Garlic Flowers is Florence Stoker. And then, you know, his minors in this deck are similar to his minors in, oh my gosh, Alchemical Magnum Opus, but like they're like minors that show sort of the Pippish look, and then they have sort of a scene along with them. And so Pamela Coleman Smith was in Bram Stoker's sort of social circle, and so she actually has a card in this deck as the Queen of Holy Water, which is really, really neat. So, you know, there are characters from Dracula, and there are people from his social circle. So Jonathan the Fool from Dracula. And it's just a really, I mean, always Robert and Place's decks are, like, I love his illustration style. And then I just really massively love how much work he puts into the sort of structure behind his decks. It's like so well researched, it's so nerdy and wonderful, and like being a nerd about this stuff really adds up to like amazing, well-rounded decks that really work for people, even though they're situated in a theme, right, or in, you know, someone's life or in their story. So this is just the Ace of Garlic Flowers, Mina, a character from Dracula, the Brides of Dracula. The sun is like baking someone here, which I think is so neat because I'm sorry if my camera keeps falling a little bit. That's so annoying. I love this because, like, you know, the sun can have negative connotations and sometimes is only read in a positive light, but how cool is this that we get sort of a negative connotation of the sun? Judgment, somebody's pulling themselves, oh, it's Jonathan pulling himself out of the grave. So anyway, this is just such a cool deck. It's glossy, the edges are not rounded, but I think that's purposeful because of like sharp vampire teeth, which is kind of a funny, neat design choice. So if you can get your hands on a copy of this, I think it's well worth it. And if you're a fan of Bram Stoker, a fan of Dracula, or a fan of works from that period and that sort of genre, or a fan of vampires generally, this is a deck that's really quite up your nerdy vampire alley, and I highly recommend it. So there's that. Now a couple of now we're getting into sort of like not like you might not even consider these spooky, but I think they're spooky. I think they have a spooky vibe, and I like to pair them with this, which I also think has sort of a spooky vibe. And I'm not sure why these feel like they have a spooky vibe to me. Maybe it's like Savannah vibes, maybe it's New Orleans vibes, but this feels like Dark South to me. So Southern Gothic like totally fits this for me. This is super annoying. I'm going to try and tighten this up. Hopefully now it won't shift anymore. Apologies if that's bothered you, because I don't like that for you, the viewer. But anyway, so these feel very like gothic and spooky to me. Like even this Ten of Cups, like that's kind of a spooky autumnal Ten of Cups. Like this feels spooky. And so these, especially the Southern Gothic Oracle, actually comes with like spooky extension packs. And I don't have them. But I just love this deck with the Slow Tarot. I just think it's beautiful, and I've shown it in another pairing video. But I just think they're beautifully resonant with one another. And same with the Botanical, which I can also get out. Let's see. There's another pretty card. And then the Southern Botanical is just like plants that you would find in the South, but I think that these are really lovely decks together. This one feels a little less spooky than this one. This one feels more spooky to me. But I just like these decks together. And I think they really speak nicely. I mean, look at this. That is Halloween. You know, it's not as kitschy or as you know, like straight up Halloween as some other decks. But I think if we're talking, you know, spooky autumnal vibes, things that I like about this time of year, these decks really resonate with those vibes that I enjoy in autumn and feel spooky to me. And feel connected to, like, you know, where I'm from and sort of ancestral stuff and like nostalgic spooky vibes, which all kind of go together for me. So there's that. And now we're kind of getting into more just generally, like, I think these are spooky, even more tangential spooky decks. So here's one that I like to whip out, and this is the Le Tarot de la Toile Cachée. I don't speak French. Sorry, I wish I did, but I got no time. So this one just feels kind of ghostly and spooky to me. It's the silver, I'm sure, but this one is just such a fun Marseille style deck, but it feels very spooky to me. Like there's a cracked mirror. I mean, you know, it feels spooky. Also, this is kind of a hilarious deck, like if you really start to look into it, you know, and into the symbols within the cards. There is some really funny stuff going on. So if you're into kind of cheeky decks, and you're into the Marseille tradition, like this is a cute deck. So yeah, like here's an example, you know, of some like fun stuff on the Magician's Table. Like it's just really fun. And you can find really funny things in here. Like I love this Cyclops. Yeah. I love this deck. I think it's just the coolest. And I don't know. Do you think it's spooky? I think it's kind of apt for this time of year. I mean, even if it's not spooky, it feels pretty spooky to me. It feels ghostly. It feels autumnal. Well, I don't know about autumnal, but it feels like if I had this out on Halloween, I'd feel good about it. Doesn't feel. Look, Bitcoin is one of the coins. So this is just a really, really cool Marseille-inspired modern deck, and also the production value is really cool. This has that very old school feeling paper cardstock. So it's very thick, sort of watercolor paper-esque cardstock. All right. I think Terra Volatile feels spooky. I do. I do. I think it feels autumnal and spooky. Uh-oh, I put these in wrong. Can't pull on a ribbon that I put in wrong. All right. So I chose my cards, which is something you can do with Tarot Vault Solo. But this feels spooky to me. I mean, look at there's skulls. The color palette is very kind of spooky. Some of the card, like, I mean, that is a creepy Pope Hierophant. So this one feels spooky to me. I really, really enjoy it for kind of a historical vibe. But it's, you know, a modern deck, and it's got some alchemy stuff going on. It's got a whole extra suit, but I mean, that's probably one of the scarier double cards I have in my collection. It's beautiful. It's very well done. I know they just came out with like a major guidebook for this, which is really cool. I have not purchased it because, you know, gotta watch my expenses, but that would be something I'd be interested in if I ever had time to peruse a thick, chunky guidebook. I've got quite a few to get through already. There's never enough time. But this is a very, very cool deck. I really appreciate all the work that went into it, and the extra suit is the suit of Vessels, if I'm not wrong, and it's an alchemical suit. And if you're interested in alchemy, this is a very cool choice. I was seeing if I might find one of those, but there's probably 100 walkthroughs of this deck, but to me, this feels spooky, and I think it's very cool. All right, we're down to our last two decks. I did want this to be kind of a short video, so I'm gonna go for the El-Goliath Tarot deck. This is a spooky deck to me. This is a creepy animal deck. So beautifully done. I wanted this for a long time, and I got the second edition. And I'm just gonna whip out a few of the cards. But this is like a creepy. I mean, it's so beautifully done. The pencil drawings. Or charcoal. I think it's pencil. Very, very dark pencil, but it's like a very hard animal deck. It does not pull back on some pretty like sad depictions of the animal kingdom. It also humanizes animals in a couple of ways, like Queen of Pentacles, you know, I think that's a leopard with you know, nose ring. But this is a very, very cool deck. And I really, really enjoy it, but it does feel creepy. Like, look at this. The Knight of Swords, the hooded brother, and it's like a cobra that is like mesmerized. Like, this is a cult leader. He's mesmerizing like a bunch of critters he could definitely eat. You know, it's just beautiful. Very, very cool deck. I mean, I love the orcas all day. Yeah, creepy. Hard to look at this. Yep, one of the creepier devil cards I have. Anyway, very, very cool deck. Highly recommend if you're into animal decks, if you're into just beautiful art decks. El-Goliath did like some of the most beautiful tarot art I've ever seen. Worth having, and beautifully packaged. I mean, it's kind of a huge packaging. But it's well done. So take that into account. All right, last deck, and this is a favorite. This feels spooky maybe just because, and appropriate for the season, just because it is black and white, and it has a lot of skulls, you guys, because this is the Tarot of the Toiling Hands by Esme Baker Tattoo, and she just has like this really sick tattoo style, and I have really considered like going and getting, I don't know what's going on with my deck. I've got a couple of things turned around. She just has this really, really amazing tattoo style, and I have totally considered going to get a tattoo from her in the UK. So it doesn't, like, I don't know, I guess it's not that spooky, but like when I think of this tattoo style and when I think of like the number of skulls and stuff that appear in some of her tattoos, I think of this deck as being spooky. So maybe I ended on like a not quite spooky deck. But I do think it's one that doesn't get a ton of attention in the sort of tattoo tarot space, but I think it's like, because it's independent, right? Like there's the Ink and Intuition one that gets a lot of attention. But I think that this is like a really amazing tattoo inspired tarot. And she just like has such a way. And she does these really neat titles up top that they feel like esoteric titles, but they're not. So they're like, well, no, not Golden Dawn esoteric titles. So like the Infinite Creator and Master of Mighty Resolve, Magician. The Sons of Jubilation and Indulgence, Three of Cups. Oh no, the gods of jubilation and indulgence, Three of Cups. You know, and it's kind of cool because it gives you sort of a, like sometimes it gives you a gender, like the father of new thought and vitality. It gives you sort of a gender to work off of, and then also a gender energy. And then gives you sort of like mastery, the esteemed master of great success, and like it gives you keywords, right? So success is a keyword, intellect is a keyword, you know, curious child, Page of Swords, you know, so you kind of get some really neat things to jump off of if that's your vibe. If you don't like keywords, I still think this is kind of a cool example of keywords used differently. And they really lend to the vibe of the deck. So, oh, there's something spooky. Ten of Swords, the Mother of the End, and she has like a ram's skull. You know, it feels Halloween vibes to me. Yeah. So anyway, this is a favorite deck. And highly recommend it if you're looking for a tattoo deck. I think she still sells these on her Etsy shop, Esme Baker. Esme Baker Tattoo. And I just really like her stuff, and I would totally ask her to tattoo me if she had time. I'm sure she's booked up, you know, tattoo artists are like that. So let's kind of go through what I've shown. So Tarot of the Toiling Hands, that's a good one. I'm gonna like actually zoom out now. Tarot of the Toiling Hands. La Tarot de l'Etoile Cachée. Oh! That was my AirPods in this funny little luggage case. Fell. And actually, y'all, I left out one. I think this deck is creepy. In a great way. I love this deck. I think it's really, really cool. This is my favorite photography deck. It might be, I mean, I have collage decks, but I don't think I have another photography deck. This is it. Because it's, I think, incredibly hard to do a pure photography deck well. And this is the Somnia Tarot, and it's creepy and Halloweeny and autumnal, not only because of the sort of misty, murky vibes, but also because you can never see anyone's face. All the faces are covered. And I find that kind of creepy. I think a lot of people do, but I also think it's just one of the most incredible decks ever made. I've seen a lot of tarot decks now. And this is, and I own a variety of historical decks, and this is, to me, like a groundbreaking photography deck. I think it's really, really interesting. and incredibly well produced and well done. And I'm actually, like, I know that the illustrated version came out, and that might be also something you want to look at. Personally, this is it for me. I don't really care to have an illustrated version because I think it was perfect in its photography-based version. So this is just one of my favorite decks, even though I do find some of the imagery quite creeptacular and quite spooky. I think it's a challenging deck, and I think it's super incredibly well done. So I always want to recommend that deck. I don't think it's like necessarily for beginners, but I don't think it's outside of the realm of beginners. But I also think that, you know, a lot of people start with stuff that's more safe, and then their appetite grows to where they could engage with something like this and truly enjoy it. And I think that's certainly true for me. So Everyday Witch and the Practical Magic, Inner Oracle, the Poe Tarot. What else do we have? Dark Mansion. And then we have the Southern Gothic little collection here, plus the Slow Tarot, which I think is great with those. And then we have the Tarot Volatile, and always a winner, the Vampire Tarot. I can't fit everything on here. And finally, the Goliath. And that's my spooky tarot collection. Thanks for watching. Short vid, I hope, and I hope you have a wonderful Halloween.